Kern Field has been a part of Council Bluffs for over a century when back then, it was called the Hilltop Field. We have seen football players on the field like the 1953 Abraham Lincoln High School varsity team. Here is the 1939 track team and 1947 ROTC. Besides many graduation commencement, it was also the site of a bonfire to kick off homecoming in 1964. Originally, Council Bluffs High School was known as the Hill. It was on the north side of a plot of ground that is the north end of today's Kern Park. Here are two pictures of the school before and after the cut grading on High School Avenue. The red hatched represents the High School Avenue cut that was pretty major. After the school was torn down, the earth in the yellow hatch area was cut for fill elsewhere to make the hilltop field level. Looking at terrain maps, the area under and around the south end of the concrete home team stadium had to be filled. Considering common school room size of 40 feet by 35 feet and then the larger front rooms on the northwest side being 40 by 50, then adding the hallways, the stairways and the exterior wall construction of 2 feet, here is an approximate size layout of Council Bluffs High School. You can compare the layout to houses in the picture, or the former site of the AL High School. The original Council Bluffs High School buildings, back to front axis, was east to west, and if one looked out the front windows they see the parallel east-west streets of Streetsville. Streetsville is a nickname for the west end of Council Bluffs. Streetsville was derived from Frank Street, who was an early pioneer of Council Bluffs. Besides being a mayor, he was a public and private land developer and manager and had a significant role in laying out the west end. It is the author's estimate that the area in the blue oval was filled from the cut where the old school stood. Here is a picture of Hilltop Field as it was called in 1936. It was called Hilltop until Thanksgiving Day that year. Mr. Kern was the principal of AL. This picture by a nonpareil photographer is amazing, as well as the work done by the darkroom technicians. The author believes it was taken from the water reservoir that is near Upper Harrison Street, approximately 5,000 feet away by the way the crow flies and nearly 2 miles by car. It was taken at night, back in 1936, with a camera available then. It was taken on Wednesday, November 11, 1936. It had snowed lightly during the day. Mother Nature was making up for the Dust Bowl days that started in 1930. It was the first season with lights and therefore the first matchup of AL versus TJ at night on the Hill. 2,500 people showed up for the game. The stadium could seat 4,500. The Lynx had not won the AL versus TJ game since 1929, but 1930 and 1932 were ties. The two sides beat each other up for a scoreless first half. In the third quarter, AL's Ray Tennant, number 62, completed a pass to Frank Fryer, number 78, for a touchdown. Then instead of running or passing for the extra point, halfback and underclassman Charles Hurd, number 86, drop-kicked the ball through the goal post for the extra point. The nonpareil sports writer called the drop kick a sandlot play. In the fourth quarter, TJ scored a touchdown and Charlie Suter ran for the extra point on the slippery field. It was a huge unsuccessful pileup for TJ near the goal line. AL won 7-6. Earlier in the year, on August 17, 1936, Hopi Native American priests started their 9-day snake dance with live rattlesnakes. They danced with their snakes until August 26. Then on August 27 the West and Midwest was showered with rain for days. The drought was over. The term snake dance became popular. Any unchoreographed celebration with some form of line dancing was informally called a snake dance. After the game, the AL students celebrated with a snake dance in downtown Council Bluffs. The police chief, Elmer Lane, praised the students for their conduct and said there were no complaints. Here is Hilltop Field. In this picture, it is under construction. The workers in the bottom right are in shirt sleeves. The grass in most areas is dead, and the trees do not have leaves. The light poles are up but not the lights. Principal Kern was behind building the field, by getting Depression-era recovery money. Hilltop became Kern Field on Thanksgiving Day, November 26, 1936. AL played the Southwest Iowa All-Stars on that day and lost 24-0. Helen Parmer, an Abraham Lincoln High School senior, was crowned football queen. On October 27, 1936, President Roosevelt with Proclamation 2207 made November 11, Armistice Day starting in 1936. Many cities had parades. The people were happy. The drought was over. The Indians had done it. Council Bluffs had a football game between their rival high schools. Overseas in England, King Edward VIII laid a wreath at the cenotaph, an empty tomb to honor the soldiers and sailors of the empire that had died in the Great War. The king would only keep his crown for one more month when he gave it up to marry an American lady. In Rome, Armistice was also celebrated. Italy had started the war on the German side, then of May 5 of 1915, they switched sides. If the French and English would help them get land back the Austrians had taken from them with German backing. In Germany, Armistice was not celebrated. After Adolf Hitler became Chancellor in 1933, he turned the legal system loose on all 6 of his opponents. Hitler's Nuremberg Law of 1935 prohibited Jews, Poles, and any non-Germans, by his definition, from voting. Hitler and his Nazi Party won all 741 seats in the March 1936 parliamentary election. In the fall of 1936, while much of the world celebrated the armistice, Hitler signed pacts with Japan, Italy, and joined in on the Spanish Civil War. It had only been 17 years and 5 months since the Treaty of Versailles had been signed to end war forever. Here are 3 shots of Kern Park, formerly Kern Field, and formerly Hilltop Field. It has held a prominent place in Council Bluffs history since 1871.